Hey, welcome back to my series of chats with some of the people I think are the most interesting people in crypto. And today I'm talking to Daniel Krawisz, who definitely fits that category. He's been in Bitcoin a long time, and he founded the Nakamoto Institute in 2013, is that right?
Yes.
And these days he's the host of the Bitcoin Stuff YouTube channel, which is a very good series of conversations, much better than this one, and you should definitely check that out. Daniel, what else are you up to these days?
Well, first of all, thanks for the introduction, and second, I don't know if my conversations on my show are that good, but thanks for saying.
No, I think they're pretty good.
Okay, well, that's true. I do have conversations on the show. I have non-consensual guests, come to think of it. So
right. Well, that's the best kind of guest, really.
I show people everything that happens to me on Twitter.
Right. So something I've always wanted to ask is, do you strategically choose the books that you pile on your desk before every interview?
No, this is literally what I'm reading right now, and I decided to. So part of what I wanted to do with my show is just be genuine, and because I know cults hate that. So I decided not to have anything, not to do anything other than just not to present myself as anything other than myself.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way to go. All right, now I noticed in that last little spiel there, you said the word cults, and you said cults hate that, and you've been going around lately saying that crypto is showing certain cult-like attributes.
Oh, sure. So in our previous interview at the Satoshi Vision conference, I said that BTC is like a cult. But I think that it is a cult. I don't really have a problem with using that word on them, based on what I've seen, based on the people that I interact with from the BTC camp.
What are some of the specific cult-like features of BTC?
Well, so I think that the ideology that has taken over BTC is anti-investor, and a healthy cryptocurrency would be one that is run for the investors, just like any other investment, right? So, and I think that it is completely unnatural, the idea that you should buy something with the intention that it's going to, any of the cryptocurrencies are investments, because if they're not, there's no reason to hold them, right? And if you do not have an investor-centric attitude, that is unnatural, and someone who was holding the coin and who accepted the ideology that it is not being run for the investors would have to turn into a cult member, because someone who is focused on his own interests, which is what investors should be, wouldn't want it. And for over the past few years, BTC has driven out independent-minded people, and the result is a bunch of non-independent-minded people. And there's sort of a so that's one thing. So another thing that I have observed is that people in BTC believe that good knowledge should be public, and they compare the Bitcoin development process to a scientific community.
Mm-hmm.
However, any knowledge that's really relevant to Bitcoin investors is knowledge of the future. In other words, it's knowledge that an investor would have, not knowledge that a scientist would have. Oh, and there's no analog to a controlled experiment in Bitcoin that I know of. So I don't see the scientific community analogy as holding any weight. I think that it is a facade of a scientific community. It's a mask that they put on to distract people from what's really going on. And where was I going with this? Oh, so investors are the ones who have knowledge about the future, and that's the knowledge that's important. So in a scientific community, the idea is that people are competing to do the best job convincing the rest about objectively demonstrable features of the real world. What we really need to know in Bitcoin is what are other investors going to do in the future, and that is not a form of knowledge that is approachable from a scientific standpoint. I would say that the market is anti-inductive. So knowledge is individual, and once knowledge gets out, then the system changes, and it's different people who have knowledge, right? Because in a market, the important knowledge is knowledge that some people have ahead of everybody else. So all the best knowledge is secret. So I would say that the reality is the opposite of scientific community, or something that is very, very different from a scientific community.
Right. I think one feature of cults I've seen is that they claim to be the holders of secret knowledge or esoteric knowledge, and the more you pay them, the more you pay into their system, the more of that knowledge you're going to have access to. Is that how Bitcoin works?
That's how Scientology works. But,
I didn't want to say the S word.
No, I don't think that I would say that is many. It is very common for cults to have a hierarchical structure. I mean, I guess unless they're really tiny, then you just have one leader and a few followers. But there's a hierarchical structure, and the people at the top are the ones in control, and you are sort of the members are tricked into climbing the hierarchy when there's really no reason why they would actually want to. And that's the structure of BTC, is that they're the developers in the center, and then there are layers of bullies on the way out who try to prevent you from getting in by subjecting you to a know-it-all competition. So I don't think that they claim to have secret knowledge. The developers do claim to be the most knowledgeable people, or I should say, the cult members claim that. I don't know. I haven't spoken to enough core devs to know what they would say on that particular issue. But the members sure believe that, and they don't think that anybody else has a right to say anything unless they can win the know-it-all competition. And in my conversations with people on Twitter, this is a constant theme that if you don't have the esoteric knowledge that the developers think is important, then why are you talking? But the reality is that the way you succeed as an investor is knowing something that other people don't know. Mm-hmm. You don't have to know everything. Anything that you know that other people don't know is good, and it's okay to be completely ignorant of everything else, as long as you know something that other people, as long as you know anything that other people don't know.
Right. I actually feel that most, or apart from like a very core or central, I don't like to use the words core or central, but that's the only metaphors I have right now. You have people who've been there from the beginning, and everyone else, probably about 95% of the people I meet in this industry, are in it to make an investment and hopefully cash out in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, it's not just the Bitcoin and its derivatives. It's all of the other altcoins as well. In fact, maybe more so.
Right. And so let's see what else. So the esoteric knowledge that is known by the developers is not really what you need to know in order to make a successful investment, mm-hmm. because it is not knowledge about what other people will do in the future. So you need to know how Bitcoin works in order to be a successful investor, I think. But that's not enough. You need to know about what other people will do in the future, and nobody can prove that they really know this, right? So you need to you need to go by what you think you know, and it's your responsibility to know it. And but I would say in the BTC camp, the programming and cryptography knowledge is considered to be the important knowledge, and the knowledge that I think is important is not considered to be important.
So do you think Bitcoin success is already baked into the cake, or and it's generally assured, or is it going to take some black swan event or external factor to make it succeed? Like a system crash or economic collapse, or just general loss of confidence over time?
Oh, well, that's a good question, because I think that many people have interpreted my past writings as saying that the success of Bitcoin is baked in, mm-hmm. And certainly I would say that just the way that Bitcoin works, the engineering that Satoshi put into it, gives it a lot of power, but there are limits to how retarded you can be, right? Eventually, if people are dumb enough, it will fail. And I think Bitcoin is the black swan event. I don't think that anything needs to happen in the outside world for Bitcoin to take over. I think that if Bitcoin fails, it will fail because of the people in Bitcoin, and the competition from outside is whatever, not very good.
Right. I think generally the failure of any system, whether it's government or economic or technological, I think it's probably the people in that system that eventually cause it to fail, right?
Yeah, and I think that the effect that's been happening in BTC the last couple of years that I talked about independent-minded people leaving and cult members remaining, that's setting BTC up for a black swan event that will reshuffle its position as the top coin, because I don't think that a cryptocurrency can be successful if it has submissive investors. I think investors are the only ones. Like, nobody will look out for your interest for you. So if you've got a group of people who are not very good at looking out for their own interest, then the coin that they're holding is not doesn't look like a good investment to me.
Right. So Bitcoin forked around August 1st last year. That was the official point where things separated. But in fact, I think it actually forked a long time before that. What would you say is the point where the paths deviated?
I don't know. I was not following the Bitcoin news very closely until recently, before the fork happened. Mm-hmm. So I was focused on my economics ideas,
right?
And I was not involved in the development process very closely ever. So, but I decided to get more involved when the fork happened, because then we suddenly have some economics and investment issues there that hadn't existed before. So there was stuff that I could get. There was some things that I could talk about when that happened, I think.
I think a lot of the people who are supporting Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin BTC and Bitcoin Cash, whichever you prefer, a lot of them are trying to do everything they can to look less cultish, less weird, and more like a mainstream investment. So they really want to get the big bankers involved, or at least the institutional investors, and they want to make it look as investment friendly as possible. Is that the wrong path?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what appeals to those guys. To me, the appeal of Bitcoin is, that it is a form of money that you can expect that you will retain the same fraction of the total into the future. And early on in Bitcoin, Bitcoin was full of great people who were holding the coin. And I think the investment value of money is the network effect. So it's the other people that you're connected to with it.
Right. Which could you name some great people that you think Bitcoin's lost? Go on.
Sorry, I wanted to go back to something, because I also wanted to talk about why BTC is a cult, but BCH is not a cult.
Yeah, that's actually
because it could turn into one eventually. Maybe we'll just see cycles of the same thing going on forever, right?
Well, I think some people would call BCH a cult just because of some of the personalities involved with it. Your Roger Veras, Craig Wrights.
But see, that's exactly why it's not a cult, because you're not supposed to have a personality if you're in a cult. And
really?
I would say that,
I thought a lot of cults were based around a charismatic personality.
Yeah, one charismatic personality, but BCH likes anybody who's. If you go to BCH and you act a bit nuts, they'll love you. But that's not the main thing. The most important difference that I have seen, or I should say, there are two big differences that I've seen. And the first one is that I have never met any BCH martyrs. Okay, and I have definitely some BTC martyrs. And you should check out my video on Beauty and the Beast, where I discuss one of them, that episode. And basically there was a tweet from Jameson Lopp where he was saying that he was going to go into the market to he said he was going to the front lines on the day that SegWit 2x was going to come out, and that didn't ultimately happen, but that's what he was saying he was going to do. He's going to go out into the market and try to manipulate the market on behalf of the Bitcoin core devs, which is an extremely poor decision from an investor perspective, and I would say that he is identifying with the needs of the developers more than with his own needs. And I have more examples of that I've seen. So I've seen people talk about being part of Bitcoin's immune system on the BTC side, and that is the whole idea of that is that you are coming to Bitcoin's defense as opposed to Bitcoin works for you. You are the investor and Bitcoin works for you. So I have not seen that attitude in the BCH camp, and prove me wrong, but I have not met any BCH martyrs. And second, since the BCH fork came out, I have taken a staunch neutral position, and I have said that I am still hodling everything, and it's a good idea to hold all of the forks. And one of the reasons I took that position is that I knew that it would demonstrate the difference in the characters between the two sides, because cults cannot understand, or I should say, cults do not like neutral people. For them, it is inside or the enemy, which is outside.
Yeah, that's true.
If you are talking to somebody in a cult and you are just telling them to, prove to me whatever you believe, they will continually confuse you, a neutral person, with the enemy, and they will try to ascribe positions to you, positions that correspond to the enemy. And so, for example, in America we have the Democrats and Republicans, and they're cults in my opinion. They're not as bad as Scientology, but they're still both cults. And if you talk to either side and you try to not have a position, you just say, prove Republicanism to me, to Republican. He will keep thinking that you're a Democrat, and vice versa. And that is how the BTC group is, or they're very hostile to my neutral position. And I have had several people from the BTC camp try to pressure me to sell BCH, because they say BCH is an attack on Bitcoin. And I would say that is a monstrously stupid way of going about investing. Because it is my decision what I want to hold as an investor, because it is my prediction about the future, right? And if you don't like my prediction about the future, that's not an attack on you. It's just me doing my best to predict the future, right?
Yeah.
And so the neutral position, what that means is I don't know who is going to win, and I don't care to investigate the issue very much. So I will be fine whichever one wins. That's the prediction you have if you take the neutral position. But whereas the BCH camp, they completely understand my position, and they do not. They understand my position from an investment perspective, and I have never had anyone in BCH tell me that I need to sell BTC because that's an attack on BCH. So I would say that there has been nobody in the BCH camp that has tried to pressure me to make stupid decisions. So those are my two reasons that TC is the culty one. And whatever you say about BCH people get very enthusiastic about it, and maybe they sound a bit kooky when they talk about how great BCH is. That's not a cult. The atmosphere in BCH more closely resembles the atmosphere when I first got into Bitcoin. And I would say that early in Bitcoin, it was like a new religious movement. And what it means is that, sometimes that is a euphemism for cult. But
yeah, I was just about to say that actually.
Yeah, but what I mean is that anybody, there were lots of crazy ideas, but there was not anybody centrally controlling the information in any way.
Right.
And so in a new religious movement that is not a cult, anybody can have a revelation and can talk to God, and you have a crazy group where everybody is saying whatever Jesus told them, where it can later evolve into a cult, and then there's only one group that's allowed to talk to God, or one person.
Right. I mean, even mainstream Christianity itself has been through many, many forks in the past 2,000 years.
Yes. There's. And I think that the religion analogy is completely valid, because Bitcoin is an imaginary good. So we are talking about something that is completely in our imagination. And the fact, it has value in the a similar way that a religion can have value for the people, or any group with shared traditions. The group has value for the people in it because of their traditions, and Bitcoin is the same way.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I agree with you that it is difficult to be neutral. I'd even say it's kind of impossible to be neutral, because everyone's going to have some kind of bias one way or another. You can't be neutral with religions, right? You can't go to church one week and your mosque the next, and synagogue the next, and then whatever the next.
Yeah.
You can, but you'll never be accepted by any of the groups.
Right, yeah. They all are, well, I should say many groups want exclusivity.
And even acknowledging the other side's legitimacy, as a religion or as a cryptocurrency, is tantamount to just accepting it and joining the other side.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lots of religious groups have forks that they don't talk about, and they don't acknowledge.
Right. And trying to keep a neutral position, I think, usually gets you attacked, or at least used, by both sides.
Well, I have taken my neutral position because I wanted to be able to demonstrate the difference.
Right.
And I think that if you watch my show, that's what you will see. Because I have certainly not been attacked by people in the BCH camp for my investment advice.
Right. Some people would say that's because you're more of a BCH supporter. So, do you consider yourself a BCH supporter, or are you actually neutral?
Oh,
and what does the word supporter mean anyway?
Okay, well, I am a BCH supporter, but that does not mean that I am predicting that BCH will win. Because if I thought that I knew BCH would win, then I would change my investment position accordingly. Mm-hmm. So I would say that I am still making no prediction about which will win, which is what matters. But I certainly don't think that BCH is an attack on Bitcoin, and I certainly don't think that there is anything wrong with disagreeing about what you think the future of Bitcoin should be.
I see. Now, I have one other question about Bitcoin Cash, just changing tack slightly. You're in the past, a lot of the stuff you've written has supported the HODL theory, so saying that people should just hold their cryptocurrencies and that hoarding them wasn't damaging the value in any way. Others would say that if you want the coin to have any value at all, you've got to use it. And I think Bitcoin Cash is trying to promote itself as the currency or the version of Bitcoin that you want to spend. And they're encouraging people to get out and spend it as much as they can. But I think people are hoarding that just as much.
Yeah. So, okay, let me clarify that a little bit. So back when I wrote my Hoarding Bitcoins article, the problem that I saw is people were saying, well, first of all, I would say holding is using, because if something is in your spending portfolio, you're using it.
Right.
And spending is when you stop using it. That's when you're done using it. Mm-hmm. So I don't think spending is using. Spending is stopping using. Excuse me. But that doesn't mean that I think that there is something wrong with spending or something less important about it, because you don't really want to hold a currency if you can't spend it later, because part of the value of holding is the ability to get rid of it whenever you want, as easily as possible.
Right. So at what point would you spend it instead of holding it?
I guess I would say I'm kind of a frugal person, so I probably wouldn't want to spend that much anyway. Mm-hmm. I have attempted to trade the some of the ups and downs a little bit, but that's not something that I think I know very much about.
Right, but you wouldn't go out of your way to spend Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, in a restaurant or bar just because you happen to be at a meetup.
Not really. I mean, I would really rather get rid of my dollars, mm-hmm. either my BTC or my BCH, because mm-hmm. I still think BTC is better than the dollar.
Right. And okay, Ness, I want to wrap this up pretty soon, but I do have one other question I really want to touch on before we go, and that's the old motive of keep Bitcoin weird. I think we brushed on it before. That even comes with its own Last Supper meme. Do you know who made that meme?
Oh, I don't know, but I live in Austin and hear people say keep Austin weird, so maybe they got it. Yeah.
All right, I thought it might have been you.
Oh, well, I wish.
So, over the years, people have described you as weird, and I mean that, as the highest compliment. Do you consider yourself weird?
Oh, I have always been the weirdo since I was a little kid. So yeah. I don't know how to be normal.
Are there any good weird people left in Bitcoin now? Who is the weirdest one?
Oh, well, everybody... Lots of people in Bitcoin are weirdos. I don't want to do a weirdness rating.
No, there should be a weirdness index.
I think Mark Karpela is kind of a weirdo. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it still counts as being in Bitcoin. he'll always be an honorary Bitcoiner no matter what he does.
I think so. I think he gets permanent membership of that club.
Yeah. Well, I think Craig Wright is pretty weird.
Mm-hmm.
People on the BTC camp hate him. I think that he's quite funny, actually.
Yeah, he's actually very entertaining in person. Like a lot more than he comes across on stage, I think.
Yeah. But I don't know. There are lots of weirdos in Bitcoin. I think that you have to have an unusual imagination to get into Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is an imaginary good, right? And in order to see its potential, you have to have some kind of imagination going on there, and normal people don't have as much of that.
All right, I think that's a very good note to wrap it up on. So, I mean, slightly continuing the theme, are you working on anything at the moment that you wanted to plug?
Well, just keep watching. If you haven't seen my show, watch that, and go check out some of my old articles at the Satoshi Nakamoto Institute.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I should also mention that Derek McGill has recently forked the Nakamoto Institute, and I think that some of my stuff will be appearing over there eventually.
Okay, where has he forked it to?
Nakamoto Studies.
Uh-huh.
.org, and that was because I as BTC went through its cult-like transformation that resulted in me losing my academic freedom at the Satoshi Nakamoto Institute. So I left that. So happy to have a new spot.
Is the Nakamoto Institute immutable? So will all your old articles stay there?
No, some of them have been removed, so I'm excited to see them restored. But it is all on GitHub, so theoretically you can go and find everything that once appeared there. So they're not lost forever. But currently there are a couple articles that are not in an easily accessible format.
Right, and I highly recommend everyone check out those articles too, because back about 5 years ago when I was just starting out in all this, I read a lot of that stuff and it sort of helped me with the background. So definitely do that. It's still very current. And
I'm glad you enjoyed.
No, it was absolutely educational. Tell me, where else can people find you? What's your YouTube channel? Bitcoin stuff.
Oh, yeah. My YouTube channel is Daniel Krawisz, and I have a few different shows on there, and one of them is Bitcoin stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I am hoping to get out the second episode of my show Controlled Insanity, which is a show on math, and right now I am working on revamping season 1 of How to Grow as a Christian, which is currently on my channel, but I'm going to move it to its own channel, and I made intro and credits for it. So I will be releasing the revamped version soon.
Excellent. All right, Daniel Krawisz, thank you very much for talking to me today, and I really want you to come back and talk to me again, so I'm not going to ask you anything more right now. How's that?
Okay, well, happy to, and thanks for inviting me.
Excellent. Thanks a lot. Daniel Krawisz, check him out.